Ladies and gentlemen, this Spring Eternal, fifth one, and it is I, Richard Millett, the one and only. We hope that you enjoyed God's gift. We certainly do. Songs of the Spheres, Star Forms, now. Hope you're doing okay out there. Helps if I click on the right thing. This is a poem by Charles Olson. It's called I Want to Know. We drink or break open our veins solely to know. Hunger drives me onward to feel all of the skin. The thrill of the knowing has me out of my brain. I want to know. Into our eyes, hundreds of flashes cause us to feel the life in the sky. I want to know. We drink or break open our veins solely to know. I want to know. I want to know. Please let me know. I have to know. I want to know. I want to know. Whoa. Things flying around. They're crazy. Beautiful. This is written by a guy, you all know who he is. Your home is where you're happy. It's not where you're not free. Your home is where you can be what you are, as you were just born to be. Now they'll show you their castles and diamonds for all to see, but they'll never show you that peace of mind, 'cause they don't know how to be free. So burn all your bridges, leave your old life behind. You can do what you want to do, 'cause you're strong in your mind. And anywhere you might wander, you can make that your home. As long as you've got love in your heart, you'll never be alone. Just as long as you've got love in your heart, you'll never be alone. No, 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 you'll never be alone. No, 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 no. This is called Renaissance. Excuse me. My mother doesn't like when I expectorate during performances. Can you imagine? I've been doing this since 1993, and she fucking gives me notes. Motherly advice, right? Where would we be without it? All right, this is called Renaissance. Celebrate the Silver Age, the wonderful dawn, the dust from space, the transparent page, the grasp of discipline, possibilities unbound by definition, the reach of purposeful disassociation. Yes, the Silver Age, the cyclical start, the anti-doom, antidote to negation and cynicism cloaked as intelligence, and laziness stealing from experience. The Silver Age, wisdom without citing a reference, ideation from the singular source, the interior physics married to open perception, divorced from pre-existing belief systems. Celebrate the Silver Age, the transfiguration of time, made clear in the present, the gift of interdependent contexts, in the spirit of enthusiastic creation, leaning on the curve and leaving a set of fingerprints superimposed, adding another angle to the environment. This is Submerging. Are we good? Okay. My thoughts stop. My muscles go slack. I sink into the gray water. I rise, pick up shells, and see something inside. I see a spotlight bathed in cream, a turtle swimming slowly, and bioluminescent plankton out past the reef. I am not the follower. I have nothing to prepare for. I am not the leader. I've got no form. At this moment, I'm no one's son except for my father's father's father. My head stays underneath. No new oxygen, but for the time being, I've got all that I need. I am not the follower. I've got nothing to wait for. I'm not the leader. I'm just being born. At this moment, I'm no one's son except for my mother, the clouds, the sun, the land, the water. All is one. All is one. I have come. All is one. Open reach. All is one. To infinity. All is one. Circle soul. All is one. Bird's beak. All is one. Silver seed. All is one. We have come. Sunset, but the day's not lost, sitting under the trees, gazing at the vast expanse. Palm fronds drifting down towards me in the lilting breeze. Melted ice in my drink. If you can't remember the past, the same patterns will always last. Sunset, but the day's not lost, starting to slip into sleep, and watch my dreams without disbelief. But I drag myself off the beach, through the unseen black and green, and have a late dinner in the canteen. I'm so glad we could take some time off in the tropics. I never thought we could afford it. The wind is hotter than it's ever been, and I'm not uncomfortable at all. The water pulls us in, and my hair is a flower. Play in the sun. Push yourself into the quiet rays. The sun is so warm until the end of the day. I'm so glad we had this time in the tropics. So used to saying that you can't have nothing. The rain is coming quick. The cabana is empty. I see the leaves falling from the power of the storm. The hotel food is fine. The kids are running around the hallways. The sun is so warm. Enjoy the sand in your feet. Play in the sun. Play in the sun. Push yourself into the warm rays. The sun is so warm until the end of the day. I can recall it all, narrowly avoiding the serrated rocks, rain dripping down the mast. I stood and stared. My lungs were cold, made me breathe faster. My leg jumped in time, a sign of my exhilaration. I lost my name. That night my face changed. I was stronger, much stronger, after I docked. I'd walk by myself. I didn't need to talk. I'd lost the need to talk. I picked a plantain off the tree, picked a pearl from the cum, gave some coins, and kept my paper money. I found a knife on the ground, saw my reflection in the blade. Nails grown long and my beard grown scraggly, my hair pinned to the back of my head. I waded off the shore and caught a fish with a sharpened stick, sliced off the scales, peeled back the skin, and quickly leapt over the sea snakes upon my return. Where should I go? Empty and without suggestion. Dry bathtub, antiseptic self, turquoise pottery carefully washed, not included in collection debates, and can catalog itself. A black and white television crackling on the last analog signal, transmitting drip brush pixelation to friends who have never met before dawn with unbent antennas and tinfoil knobs. No larger connection and no network without notice or critical thought. Pure broadcast. Where should I go? To a cricket's lake where Mona Lisa and George Washington's faces urgently run by on filmy soap transfers until they burst into digital diagonal scribbles that shock sleeping bluebirds and hunting robins, where austere diagrams of skeletons are traced onto colored chalk and oil sticks litter the walkways, where oysters recover jewelry fallen overboard and forgotten, where flashlights find glimpses into windows and fluoride is poured into jugs of cola. Where should I go? With a shopping bag full of batteries, returning a stolen bike to its parent company, walking in between unclean delivery trucks in need of repair, while raw-toned steel whistle air floats on wisps of strawberry hair, and accelerated voices and nonsensical 10-second annoyances, a magician perfecting an illusion which ends with them curling up and sliding down a tree, then pretending to be asleep while assessing what the crowd seems to think. Then a throne is carried on, seating a man in a parchment crown and wrapped up in beach towels. Where should I go? Into a kitchen with aluminum knives and nurses in white lab coats and blue rubber gloves, rolls of tissue paper and unfolded t-shirts and personalized engraved nameplates. Where should I go? Knees to the chest, laying on the cool ground. Scissors, heels pressed together, toes toward the sun, back to the cool ground, damp handprints on mosaics. How are we doing out there? Doing okay? Good. I always like to check. I always like to check in on these things. Yeah. Oh, we should get rid of that. This is it's called 3% Profit. In the book this came out in, separated it out throughout the book so that you kind of kept returning to it, but really it's all written. I still think I might be testing positive for COVID, so never mind me. It's just my wild sinuses. I think sometimes people might read into certain things that aren't necessarily there. So this is just it's just one poem. It's not I'm not doing anything radical by reading it all as one piece. And really, man, it's all one piece, right? It's all just different chapters of the same book. It's all a big Rashomon Rorschach. Waking up to the sun-soaked world in the eyes of a diamond stretching out from a full circle. I was at a recital resting on a bed of feathers and then floated to the front of the festivities. A Mercury step leaped through the lake and land in a leafy soft meadow, my legs a blurring, winding wheel. My mom and dad hold out boxes. They walk together to an airplane, then climb up and run across the wings. But Soon it's nice and quiet for me, as we can plainly see. I tied a string around an anteater, as we can plainly see. The newspaper says it's better to have metal teeth, as we can plainly see, but I would rather bathe in butter, as we can plainly see. I nicked a little bit of hammer and nail on my way onto the helicopter. What I knew of physics sped up my entrance. Never seen the sky be so brave and wide or thought about the joy in watermelons. And when I carefully left the step stool and went into the underground ice tunnel, I ran across a humidifier so the motor could keep my feet warm and not get harmed by frostbite. My eyes hide behind a pregnant woman's stomach while a laser rings into my ears. I try to open a case of sewing supplies, but to my surprise, the latch is bandaged shut. I breathe yellowed air and drink bubbling water and play with friends who live in the shower. I put a cold stream of thoughts in a brown paper bag and wonder where I can tap the telephone. I freeze my face in photos so that I'm not recognized while I page through my scrapbooks. The bugs and the cracks decline my invitations to dance, so therefore they're unwanted. I hiss into the sink until they crawl back so that my party can stay filled with levity and not too much gravity, so I paste my Polaroids all over the walls in geometric patterns and steal some dinner from my next-door neighbors as it's their fault for having given me a key. My sleeves festooned with pins and wind chimes dangle and jangle, thus announcing my arrival. A curl in the best nest with an arm that won't do you harm, an idol vibrating on a whirring appliance, as we can plainly see. And soon I'm ready to eat, nothing moving suddenly, as we can plainly see, and even sooner still time to sleep. Here's to a night of pleasant dreams, as we can plainly see. It's called Venus. Venus waiting in a lake on the first day of spring, glides past a pregnant crane, sees what the future can be. Venus waiting in a lake, picked ripe fruit from the trees, pouring petals in the water, splashing along with her baby. The sparrow takes flight, arise as it arrives. Venus sitting stringing pearls for her beloved girls, walks to where she's sleeping on the deck, kisses her on the forehead. Venus swimming beneath the sun can speak earnestly with anyone. The sparrow takes flight, arise as it arrives. This is older. It's called Earl wrote this for Tobi. It's older, but it's what it's about is really old. It's gone back a good 30 years. This is called Earl wrote this for Tobi. Wrap my hair in a shawl, sitting deep in fall. My hands are cold and my knuckles look old, just like yours. The YMCA and Beautiful Day records, walking through Lions, walking through Brookfield, on our way to the music loft, my creaking guitar case, lots of snow. Silent, fierce, and you were fully formed, the wisest, without makeup, without intimidation. Scratching carbon paper, telegraphing to the park, the swings are ours. Lots of rain. Dyeing your hair, black lipstick again. You wrote and I read every word, and it all made sense. It still does. My fingers got dark from the ink, vegan Rice Krispie treats I'd never eat. And between morning and evening, it got very solemn. We love ridiculing it. The crane lamp over my bed, when the depression would finally end, going to sleep, excited for the next day, completely calm, knowing we were special. Waiting for a ride. We evaporate, we exaggerate. They'll really never understand. They didn't even like our band. Silver comes into my room and I don't want to sleep anymore. Silver comes into my room. Silver comes in, beautifully adorned. Sunrise on the Caina Islands, watching from the shore. Take a picture so I won't forget. Sunrise on the Caina Islands, drawing with my eyes. Save it so I won't forget. Azure bird observes the river in its shimmering glow. Ranulph finds walking across the soil while filming the sky. I don't see the bell, there must not be one. The lane and land both bend to shape the horizon. Sunrise on the Caina Islands is eclipsing time. Save it in a flash of light, drawing with my eyes. It's called Do You Kiss With Your Eyes Closed? We climb volcanoes only to embrace in the crater. For 100 years we hold the same rope. Do you kiss with your eyes closed? How does it feel to hold me closer? Are you certain my name is Huxley? Does the bright sun lighten your hair? Do you plant trees on holidays? Sometimes I am, and sometimes not, collecting seeds or securing knots. We're carried on panels and dive off rocks, tuning pianos in the mornings. Answer me quickly. I want to know. Do you kiss with your eyes closed? This is called Windy Sequins. Ooh. All right. Through the missing bricks, you can see a banquet table with a candelabra crooked from water-falling wax. On the other side of the missing bricks, there's a tablecloth with faintly gray claw stains left by mourning doves. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table, heaving with indentations from apples, persimmons, cantaloupes, and pears. On the other side of the missing bricks, there is a deer walking in the distance while a finger painting floats to the ground. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table with unopened telegrams and sturdy silver trays stacked up with books about the Enlightenment. On the other side of the missing bricks, there is a pebble garden placed on a tree branch next to a mortar and pestle. Through the missing bricks, there is a banquet table, lined along the bottom right edge with bowls of cold dandelion soup. Seated 45 degrees away from the banquet table is a man with a salt and pepper waxed mustache humming waltzes and complaining about the distortions of sounds and colors. 110 years old, and he doesn't know that electric blue can be beautiful too. Well, this is called Should I Go In? The silver pepper mill whispers to the hammer that she's an airport. And though she never shows anybody, I still know that she's an airport. If you stop at her coffee shop, she'll charge you extra for a plastic top. The Wallwater ice cubes have heard this tale told before, but she's an airport. A zebra's chewing gum can confirm the reports that she's an airport. If you take off your shoes after the security stop, she'll throw them in the air and they'll land in the baggage cart. Run down the runway into the center of the day where the sun is pointing down to the ground. Reach all the way down to touch your toes and remember a story that you'll want to pass along someday. Run down the runway into the center of the day where the sun is pointing down to the ground. Reach all the way down to touch your toes and remember a story that you'll want to pass along someday. She's an airport, and her father is a farm filled with corn stalks. Her mother is a candy factory spinning reflective baubles. Every color candy. If I could talk to you, I will s'more, just like in today's world of opinion and denunciation, and admirable like in pictures and friendliness and outward inliness. Maybe I'm on the thrust of that. She dreamed she was a train draped in robin's egg lace. She couldn't keep still in one place. She dreamed she was the only train running on the 4th of July, filled with whipped cream to burst and streamers to fly. She dreamed she was a train running past the impound lot, and after every platform on the route, she'd whisper, "I still love Phil. I always have and always will." She was sad when they closed the gates up at night. She dreamed she was a train filled with die-cast metal engines and cowboy hats, ordered by the civil rights workers' favorite daughter. She dreamed she was a train and her earrings were flashing orange lights. She waves hello to the one car she'd stopped at the tiny suburban crossing. A train to get the tracks loose and rattling. Rattling tracks reminds her of those aunts and uncles talking over each other at her grandmother's birthday. Birthday! How are we doing out there? Doing okay? Good. That's what we like to see. So we're moving into the second half. This is called Never Now. Never now, 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 never now. What is the reaction from fear? What needs repair? Never now, 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 never now. Who's paying attention? Who's playing their role? Never now, 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 never now. What always was and what will always remain leaves the question, what needs to get changed? Never now, 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 never now. Excuse me. Jesus, sorry. All right. This is called Naked in the Sand. Jesus. Awful. Standing in the shower listening to the reporter recount the details of how he wrote the story in an interview. Silly things that were said, what you'd normally forget, we used to create what we called a forensic resurrection. Nobody knows how to tie the simple knots that I know. What they thought was evidence of a UFO were just streaks of antifreeze in the snow. The translation of what the guy was singing in the exhausted chanson was, "Any stick you want to beat me with is fine. I don't mind." They found him naked in the sand, Vaseline smothering his left hand. He'd already blown hundreds tipping strippers and thousands between room service meals and eccentric laundry requests. As a saint, he could not understand that how you spend one night doesn't determine your way of life. The reporter said one successful story can take as much as 3 years' time. He used his winnings to lease a car he named Spot, though when the divorce lawyer pressed him for specifics, he couldn't confirm whether it was his or not. Reverse gentrification, that's so stupid, the reporter said, while wearing a denim shirt under a suede vest. That's what passes for journalistic integrity, I guess. They apprehended him naked in the sand while he was arguing about how much his bank account was being charged by OnlyFans. His ignored lunch being consumed by birds and ants. The reporter said, "I'm only out for one thing. Someone whose head is round as a bowling ball and smokes their shame." Before getting hung up on by two guys trying to look inconspicuous in new sharp suits and what were obviously pasted on little beards, he stared longingly at the contents of his underwear drawer, wishing he had a black mask and could march with Antifa. He wanted to make donation calls on behalf of PBS and resented being stuck making crumpets and tea for BBC US. Unfortunately, he was fingered on the steps while his graduating class wept in silent disappointment and the smoke poured from his uncle's calabash pipe. The reporter dipped his thumb in iodine, wiped it on his sweatshirt, and said, "What in the hell did I do that for?" Then took another drink of his coffee that tasted like crayons, hoping to have some luck looking through locks. They apprehended him naked in the sand. At least that's what his longtime stage manager said. He was muttering, "If only I had a brain, a whole lot of trouble driving him insane." They found him naked in the sand, making demands in a country whose laws he couldn't understand, getting taken off past a hail of flashes, smirking at the twerking girls making a fortune selling their asses. This is called Cruelty-Free Heroin. When the Guardian goes mad, the sun rains against their eardrums, indistinguishable from Morse code tapping out on a copper plate. Yes, when the Guardian has gone mad, they're found singing love songs to tanks, draping staircases and flags, breaking car windows to decorate their faces with the glass. When the Guardian goes mad, they're captured pushing a pickaxe into an LED screen and detained for threatening to throw snakes at gas station attendants. When the Guardian goes mad, people suddenly remember to turn on AM radio and patiently follow guidelines before filing a full report, though there are always doubters and passers-by who start conspiracies, the usual being that this was a planned distraction. If the Guardian goes mad, they'll arrive at every award ceremony with a mirror in hand and a ribbon under their chin and make demands to review the voting processes when they don't win. If the Guardian goes mad, they'll rue the day they lost control of their relationships, spending weeks hiring staff to bury paperwork they'll insist doesn't exist or delete code. If the Guardian goes mad, all their meals shall consist of orange peels pulled from chain-link fences with burned coffee flavored with molded peach preserves, though there are always doubters ready to offer an opinion of unverifiable proof, summarizing the death and maps are the only real measures of impact. If the Guardian cracks up, they'll spend bleak days envisioning trees committing suicide, grandmothers doing crystal meth for the first time, and gnats smeared into toothpaste. If the Guardian cracks up, 7 strangers stuck in a bank will claw at each other to seek cold air in the vault and wait for their families and firemen to arrive and dig them out. If the Guardian cracks up, pirates will walk their own planks and devour themselves once they hit the water, lashing back at their gnashing teeth, running the seas red until hunter and prey have finally won. Ignorance, arrogance. The pest control man said unto me, "When I was in Japan, I bought cherry bread in a can. I opened it with a knife and slit off the wrap, and the air bubbles stayed floating in my mouth, and I rolled them around and around and around and around until I returned back to the West. Bliss tolerance the pest control man set unto me. Sometimes my apartment building turns into a vending machine, and I get deposited out into the evening to provide goods and services for lucky couples with good taste and a few wandering dollars to rub together. All right. This is from a book I did in 2016. It's called Salt or Light. I think it's a really good book. And the years go by. I'm still reading lots of poems from it. So what does that say? We're doing okay. Beautiful. All right. This is called The Rabbit and the Cowardly Wolf. Who cares? An angry, ingrown sore, spreading red and silently whining. The body? What body? The published officer's her body. A brace of muscle spasms in her right bicep. She'd observe her pet rabbit in its cage and skip past the turn of the century print in her father's office depicting a fox hunt. And yet, just one block away, another rabbit sat in the passenger seat, horribly embarrassed as the cowardly wolf got a breathalyzer and then failed to walk in a straight line. But back to the unnamed girl, I think it might have been Amanda or Amy. When one's head is round as a bowling ball and smokes their shame and presses bare-chested on saplings in the spring at dawn for an unobserved tiny tingle before the roll is called, clearly mockery is uncalled for and exoneration is at a premium. But we shall not allow for a violation of definitions, especially for one as important to this narrative as Amanda or Amy. No, 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 no. When the rabbit stepped down as the star of his own sitcom to attend to those personal issues there had been so many whispers about, the cowardly wolf suddenly was left without something to watch, emulate, idolize, sneak in a quick jerk during the commercials to, argue with, get enlightened by, surprised by, study, evaluate, grade, rate, review, proselytize on behalf of, display obscure knowledge of, and obviously whinge that it wasn't as good as the early years, and that he would know since he was there before whoever he wasn't impressing. But since no other show gave the cowardly wolf the flood of serotonin he craved so restlessly, he grudgingly and pragmatically chose to watch the reruns in perpetuity, and why not dress it up a little, for they could be revivals, or even better yet, celebrations, a new institution, a part of our shared experience and ongoing mounting heritage. Clutter. Television was revoked. The rabbit and cowardly wolf decided to intercept their favorite actor's private plane as he touched down at the dullest airport you can imagine. The duo were hilarious to themselves. Is he wearing rayon? It's not like he couldn't afford Ultra Suede. And after the actor greeted them with a few quick canned quips, he deftly inked two memories. And upon his departure, the cowardly wolf chided the rabbit about mistaking the actor's autograph for a pictograph. As they later sat in the 50s diner, their root beers run flat, the jukebox unplugged by the owner. Who was that fighter who went around without throwing a single punch? It wasn't Willie Pep. Which one are you? An afterthought. Welcoming back Amanda or Amy. I handed him... No, we're going to take a second. We're going to take a second. Let's do it. Take a second. Do it. Yes. Do it. We're welcoming back Amanda or Amy. I handed him my ovation, but it wouldn't play. Total silence. He gave it back, and I sounded like Segovia. He tried one more time, and it was like someone had pressed a mute button. I see that you've just wandered in. Would you like to give an account of yourself? The unclean offerings are an example of a permissive society, the long, thin membrane that seems to lead skyward. You are all so well spoken, and none of us would have noticed. Reverse gentrification. We're finally getting around to that. The committee smiles, the lead lawyer holding out a pen. The rabbit renews his contract, and his first project is a mystery called If Only You Were Innocent. Photographs, press conference, no disclosed details of the arrangement. He thanked his agent, Marty Weber, with a note and a fruit basket. The rabbit's people punched up the script with gems like, "Son, you're a born fact checker. Right down to the letter." And we all love those, don't we? "I'll sell my secrets because I don't care." And, of course, the catchphrase that was emblazoned upon t-shirts and mugs from around the land, "Only dogs try to understand things." Meanwhile, the Cowardly Wolf had disappeared for 4 days to investigate a garden. He had wanted to make a biopic about himself, but he couldn't secure the rights. The rabbit and Cowardly Wolf slumped drunkenly against the back wall of their town, with only the moonlight reflecting off their wine bottle. Neither the Harridan butcher's wife nor the laborer pounding spikes shall but feel a rigidity known in the necks like the mechanic's racks that feels nor floats a lodestone on the banks betwixt a bell end and an alarm clock. Do you think it's wrong to contradict yourself, Seasick, since you are no longer allowed to enjoy a glass of water? The Cowardly Wolf mumbles a roar as that goddamn kid has taken his seat on the train again. Off the rails with that wretched decade. Then the remorse, the introspective post-mortem, the fashion, architecture, music, media, technology, indecisive broad gestures, sweeping changes of the subject, conflating, placating terminology with warm sentiment. The Cowardly Wolf appears to ignore the news feed. Deeply flawed, archaic, downright prehistoric. Dances over the line of self-parody so often, you start to lose the ability to tell the difference. Pedestrian at best. An obvious, forced version of what he used to do so effortlessly, and I really miss Amanda or Amy. The rabbit and Cowardly Wolf get x-rays together, paw in paw at the clinic. Nothing's broken, they just like the way their jewelry looks against their bones in the photographs. At the ballet, the view from the private box is undisturbed. The rabbit relaxes and holds a bucket of carrots. The Cowardly Wolf watches him gnaw. They bought tickets using pseudonyms and are wearing new suits with contrasting fedoras and little pasted-on beards. In between acts, the Cowardly Wolf yawns, "Must they always?" which the rabbit doesn't hear. And then the lights go black. A cameo appearance. The rabbit bribed a policeman, and the Cowardly Wolf crouched behind a bush, filming it all. And while both are smart enough to accept that this is an inherently artificial medium, they can't stand exposition disguised as dialogue, or arbitrary structural decisions, or the limitations of the budget, or when some exec wants to cast his goddamn nephew, who's really a good kid and just wants a way to break in. Amanda or Amy, I have always had such a high opinion of you. Save your dignity. Don't call the press. Preserve the essence of drama, the command, the show that intermittently ends and begins. This is called Red or Green. God bless America. Doing okay out there? It's great to see. Ah, yes, red or green. We like this one. We like all of these, huh? Every word is even more amazing than the one before it, right? All right, red or green. Let's go. Standing shoulder to shoulder, their backs against the obelisk which marks the exact center spot of their native island, Ellery questions why he accepted this invitation from Orla, a woman who used to only speak to him in passive phrases, as her tousled, dehydrated blonde locks yank at the buckles on his jacket, and her voice now exhales ringing sleigh bells. Up Main Street comes a loose approximation of a circle formation, populated with drunken lorry drivers, whirling dervish dentists, pipe-wielding welders, and newly inoculated nurses who leer, howl, and rattle forks until they point and cry at planes flying by. Orla beholds this bedraggled throng with bemusement before her mind drifts to memories of eating escargot with her toes planted in sand while her parents reminisce on the phone with old friends. Orla turns to admire Ellery's posture and pictures what he might look like in the shower once he takes that shredded shirt and those decaying jeans off. Don't whispers. We smell like the sun and our snow tastes like salt. And as the circle disperses, Orla and Ellery know all they have to do to get home is wander long enough. All right. These are three in a row from the new book. We actually just released another new book that no one knows about. I guess I'm announcing it here. It is called the 56th book. Why? Because it's the 56th book. And I haven't, like I said, I haven't really announced it. It is up on Scribd, so you can go see it. It is very experimental in nature. It doesn't really have poems per se. I suppose you could consider them poems. I do, but yeah, it's very beautiful. And all these things, all these releases this year are, of course, they're all kind of, interconnected with each other. They're all, it's all kind of a grouping. So there's the experimental book, there's the one that's coming out in like a month, whenever, and then there's going to be a short book after that. So, plus there was the greatest hits earlier this year, so that's four. You put it all together along with this, and there's a little film working on. Shh. Don't say anything to anybody. And all of that together, all the artwork, all the everything, sort of is one big, larger statement. But hopefully you can enjoy everything piecemeal as well, right? So anyway, these are three from the next book. So yeah. First one is called Shiroi. I signed the guest book to see who else had been in the room. There were only 7 other names listed before mine. One of them was in your handwriting using a nom de plume. They baked bread, they baked cakes in honor of the decision, waiting for the door to open. Netanyahu and Abbas took pictures from a delivery truck after they weren't invited in. I measured how fast the water filled the sink and hid my newly cleaned brushes and blades in the soil of a potted plant down the hallway. How I could still hear some voices echoing, free rates being dropped into a swimming pool. Why was the second name crossed out? Sneaking around and pausing sighs. It's Murasaki. Yes, I remember when you walked on the water. I remember thinking that it was a trick of the morning. I remember a room full of hands stretched out towards you. I saw you open your eyes, wondering if you would ever repeat the moment. I remember when you walked on the water, and it wasn't a shallow stream leading to a moss trail. The memory is an object wrapped in monogrammed paper on a shelf. And this is Silber. I was quoted in your speech, but later you did not recognize my face. You broke my concentration with your fluttering interruptions. You asked if I wanted to dance, then passed me off to your date. The dust from your cracked gasp landed on the shoulders of my tuxedo jacket. I could not have expected the choir to pull out flutes and spend the night trying to find a tune to sustain a 21-part harmony. I could not have wanted a seat against the back wall where the wheels of the dessert cart kept rolling into me. How could you forget the poster of the pincher-nosed couple with bleached flower countenance and gleaming jewelry and full evening formal wear, holding tins of caviar, boasting that they brushed their teeth with lard? This is from Writhing Shadows of the Curling Flame. Do a few of these in Spring Eternal, but it's really best as its own piece. I wonder if I should do more Ego Sum Ignis performances this fall. They were cut short last fall because I fell ill, unfortunately. At any rate, this is called Freshwater Fish. Gnawing gold leaf off the treasure chest hurts my teeth. It only ever rains in here. My lungs clench and heave. I would be foolish to describe myself, but I hate feeling weak. I enter a frame with no door as a sign of involuntary retreat. The paper in the book disintegrates next to me. I never know how far deep I need to be. And it's a lie that the path to you is a street. You're in a cage. The flowers are surrounded by grass. I'm entrapped in the glass I slam against. You have latches that you can flip, push over lamps until they fall and break. You can escape traps, laugh at knives. My true love faded with eternal life. Doing okay out there? All right, this is called, I'm going to do two kind of connected together. This is Oliver Cromwell's Collage and Do the Negation. So, Do the Negation, I mean, that's kind of, a lot of people do the negation now. Came out in 2009. It's amazing how many people do the negation. I regret writing it in some ways. Not that it's influential, but I feel like a lot of people, if they had heard it, really, really, really misunderstood, really missed the point. At any rate, we're gonna get down to business, so I'll stop talking. Let's roll. Zero comes before the one, 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 zero comes before the one. The river will run, the birds will fly, the earth will turn, the sun will rise. Zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one. Look at the field, the rivers and skies. Day will follow night, spring then summer. The streets will be swept. We will work tomorrow, in the garden, in the building. Your voice was not made for stealing. Zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one. There is no culture war. Those who vehemently take sides or stake their claim are playing a game, not whose outcome has already been decided, but whose outcome is the continuation of the game. Zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one, zero comes before the one. Still stuck fighting the same battles, the rage, exasperation, recurring pain, but it works both ways. Part of the reason the problems stay the same is the way the problems are constantly pointed at. Same approach, questions constantly being raised, constantly being broken down to a children's song to see who's in or out, right or wrong. The daily reaffirmation is an equal factor in the stagnation. The sterility, tightness becomes impacted into lack of engagement, interest, and joy, and that is terminal apathy. Zero comes before the one, 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 zero comes before the one. No, no retro, no, no retro, no, no retro, no, no retro, no. 1991, fuck 2008, no retro, no retro, fuck 1929, fuck 2005, fuck 1828, fuck 1989, no retro, no retro, fuck 1994, fuck 1996, fuck 1955, fuck 1978, no retro, no more retro, no more burlesque, No more detractors. No more marketing. No more unanimity. No more nothing. No more slavery. No more sterility. No more fascism. No more frauds. No more mania. No more armies. No more factions. No more negation. No more lameness. No more cowards. No more manifestos. Zero comes before the one. 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 All the dinosaurs drank from the same place. Same bacteria. Same reaction to change. The mosquito contemplates the lake, since it seems its view is infinite, thus too vast to be narrowed down by logic. The mosquito feels panic until it switches perspective, and the lake then becomes again something else, a mirror by which the mosquito can contemplate itself. The mosquito sucking on the back of the dinosaur, its source of nutrition, its home. The dinosaur lumbers forward, stuck in a thought, only able to do what it was taught. The mosquito becomes bored of its host. The dinosaur is only left with a soul and sore. The insect on the floor ran beneath my hovering hand under a door. The insect then stopped. Its voyage was complete. The insect saw itself as a hero at peace, certain that my shadow would soon recede. The insect on the floor, crawling across the men's room at the rest stop, had a real shiny shell, knelt down next to it, got a good look up close, and there was a fucking camera on its back. Started seeing my reflection in every surface. And though it was a beautiful scene, man, I immediately missed strip malls, parked cars, rushing water, Walgreens, and office blocks next to trees. I skipped sideways out the exit, took a deep breath. All is one. 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 Nam Pravis. When you think you've thought enough, do the negation. When the past is safer than the present, do the negation. When irony is easier than reality, do the negation. When detachment is simpler than engagement. When you see someone with enthusiasm. When you encounter inspiration. If there's an idea you don't understand, do the negation. Whenever you're uncomfortable. Whenever you're inconvenienced. Whenever you're irresponsible, do the negation. Everyone's right if nothing matters. Everything's fine if nothing happens. Do the negation, a joke within the suggestion. Do the negation, God the answers before the question. Do the negation, control the level of the conversation. Keep the situation as it is. See something wrong, bring it in. Do what you've learned. Do what you know. Do the negation. Everyone's right if nothing matters. Everything's fine if nothing happens. I'll ask you, is there beauty in an expanse of land, or does it have to be manicured? Take a lawnmower into the forest. Is an animal only there to do tricks? Can a vegetable be pulled from the ground, or does it need to be processed? Can I write these words without being published? Does something need an industry to make it exist? The industry creates customs. Customs create patterns. The patterns become standards. The standards shift perception, ego, and judgment. The standards reach to nullify aberrations and contradictions, to achieve a seamless definition. The result is negation. Everyone's right if everyone receives the same fantasy and thinks it's their personal destiny. Everything's fine if everyone agrees to use the same machines and be more ordinary. The former soldier on death row knows in his private moments what led him to this circumstance, grasps his stunted progress. He once followed orders in exemplary fashion. Now he sits in prison, no longer decorated, discharged, disgraced, and abandoned. And he says to himself, when I kill for you, I'm rewarded. When I kill for myself, I'm exterminated. The crowd couldn't be more defeated. The crowd couldn't be more desperate. Nam verum. Have hesitations about his intentions? Do the negation. They're forwarding erroneous information. Do the negation. Can't devise their own language, can only repeat verbatim. Do the negation. Imposing rules of debate, afraid of a dialogue. Insists on petty confrontation. Do the negation. When they have no compassion, do the negation. When they only know reaction, do the negation. When they doubt your conscience, do the negation. She's been preparing for the child of her birth, reading through history and psychology. Her parents want her to have the baby baptized, but she knows that doesn't need to happen. She's been preparing for the birth of her child, to see it's raised smart and strong, to see it make a contribution and not be intimidated by anyone. She's been preparing for the birth of her child, eating carrots and leeks, exercising every day. She can't wait to teach her child to speak. In court, the judge declines arguments, admits what's permissible, dismisses ideas that are intangible. The judge's robe is his albatross, festooned with cloves of garlic. He must instruct the jury. He must deliver his sentence. My foundation is secure. I believe in my energy. It's true. The greatest strength is caring. I want to see the sea. I want to be free. Open the ocean. Let me in. Wear glass masks. Open the ocean. Let me in. I want to be free. I want to be free. Open the ocean and let me in. Wear glass masks. Open the ocean. Let me in. I want to be free. I want to be free. Open the ocean and let me in. I want to be free. Open the ocean and let me in. Excuse me. Okay. How we doing out there? Doing good. All right. We're gonna do something we haven't done. This is a new one. Haven't really tried reading it, so this might fall flat on its face, but we'll give it a shot. This is going to be coming out in a couple months. This is called Guys Like Us. I remember when it first happened, cold soap stinging my face, spending the day sharpening pencils while waiting for waves to eventually splash across dusk, dissolving walls and words with their force. And even further back, having to choose which hand to write with, standing in front of people as punishment, running away until the cement vanished, looking at the moon to see where the birds went, flashing lights down the hallway to the basement. Guys like us locked up in cars were never taught to drive, blankly blinking at the dashboard and wheel until it's our time to try. We feel the rain in the morning and stop wondering why we're alive. We can always talk to what's in our second minds. They lied about you, deliberately told your story wrong, because we know you don't lose your juice when a simple thing nods. They want our memories, they want our ambiguities, but we'll never eat what's offered from the beast, because we remember they were why we were alone in the dark hours, and their hopeless savagery could never help us, and they'll pretend now, but they will really never know. Guys like us taking wild turns, ignoring warnings about blind corners and looking through doors. Guys like us driving home late on Saturday night, avoiding being seen, changing lane towards the promise of paradise. All right, this is gonna do a couple from Scatter. It's the Skin Diver and Anxiety. Clear the traffic and the flames, they're eating the meal I made. We got another worry, screaming the sounds through my laughter. I think you just see the colors. You could feel I'm not mad. You're the jury, don't bleed again. You're the jury frightening me. What it is, it flashes at will. I'm gonna live. I saw a small cross on the wall while I shook my head. I obeyed when I borrowed. I craved the plaster I saw in the dark. My eye walked me into a strange corner. I nodded toward the look-alike, prowling the muck. You can feel I'm not mad. You're the jury, and don't bleed again. You're the jury frightening me. That it is. It flashes at will, and I am gonna live. Bells, bells, those are babbling bells, automatic bells that no longer work at all. There is inadequacy and there is need. You've used the term saint, and anyone with a tenth of sense is irritated by your silliness, and comparisons of sacrifice and punishment are radically different concepts which you fail to recognize. It makes me think you drink bourbon in secret and write private letters praising the pastor's bloody-mindedness. Bells, bells, those are bleeding bells, automatic bells that no longer work at all. I fail to comprehend your conviction to convert decent people who know nothing from sin to your reduction of an idea of what struggling actually is. You were the clothed one, the biblical one, fed on our feet, who stole attention and created ways to take affection and doctor the context and act like it was your decision to articulate who was mighty and who was weak and who was perfectly paced. Bells, bells, those are passing bells, automatic bells that no longer work at all. Bells, bells, those are passing bells, automatic bells that no longer work at all. The knights prepare to change, their armor melting in the sun. Their aim is to conquer the castle, only to find the castle as a few cubicles. After the rest of the tests, they release all patients on their own reconnaissance. Washing off the blood, I saw the houses I could have broken into instead, corrupt the people inside, take pictures for my enjoyment. I smeared the plums on the wall. She asked me to bite into her cap for kneecaps. It isn't right. Refinement is so right. It's pristine like diabetes. You can perform cremations by heart and your moods are easily apparent, and you can be allowed to get calmed down, and you can choose to hold your breath unless you want to suffocate. And I have heard so much about the light, and go to the light and spread the light, but I know the facts. I've read about transferring perception, and people attach their needs for benevolence and protection, and I have learned that the light is a result of tension, which makes people think they know how to function. The light is a result of tension, 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 result of tension. Now, 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 here is the ecstatic in this cloud, the blue bliss of fresh sleep, the voicings of cardinals, the streamers ascending freely through space, around space. Now, 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 it's transformed into cells and sun particles, encircling germination in mountains, forcing carnival, carrying hurricanes down to land, then back up, dispensing houses and teacups throughout the sky, golden gloves over hands. Now, 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 telescope faces examining the lightning-striped columns and accumulating figures on the depth of the field and range of solutions, compiling reports concerning continuity and loss of gravity. 1% by 1%, the swimmer becomes extinguisher. Beads of water cling to her skin. She replies only in questions and makes her point through her opponent's confusion. The extinguisher sterilizes the pool. At each end of the event, the dictionary turns back to a point. The vendor becomes sculptor. Now, now, now. In space, eating cherries. Through the layers, we travel diagonally, drinking milk to the next blue star's equator. We want to be blue, but we're totally green, totally carbon, and made to breathe. Now, now, now. Each grain pulls the fabric close and paints a background of rounded skin and wooden boards that hold 3 or 4. The swimmer doesn't starve. She turns to nature, starts to feel her face, savors the taste of chrome. In the atmosphere, folds her legs. She sees the wooden boards that hold 3 or 4, uses them to push off and propel her closer to the destination. Now, now, now. Telescope face enters the stratosphere, collecting the boards that hold 3 or 4, charting the usage for reference in a later compendium of the swimmer, and stares at his arms dissolve in the air, replaced by cables and plugs and a motor to assist him in hurtling faster, folds his legs to his chest and starts pushing to the penultimate location. This is from the upcoming book. This is called Space Filter. He was one of these fuckers with a television face, long, thin membrane fingers, 4-foot legs, and gray veins. You could see the channel change when his skin was peeled. His accent was badly pixelated, tornadoes flown in from old movie posters. They love like miraculous spiking the water supply. She reads her monthly statements and hopes she'll get a surprise. She wins a hula hoop contest, sprinkles talcum powder in her eyes, lies when interviewed in a sterile room by a queen without a kingdom, crown, and jewels festooned in a barren womb, carriage wheels on layaway. Her pussy is waxed on the 10th moon. She threatens to sue over any ingrown hairs. She bites the heads off sparrows on morning runs, then heels over, and then gets a warning for flashing a school bus. They love like DDT sprayed into a restored chapel. She urinates, then masturbates with the corner of a biography about Ivan Boesky. Dr. Weather surveys the results and reports to the board. After careful observation and consideration, she finally found the holes in the thinking she's been hiding, and that's when I knew she was pretending. She was pretending to understand. She was pretending to be a man. Dr. Fran makes a casting call, talks in breathless circles about a saxophone player who cannot take the horn out of his mouth. They stand under paisley awnings in the spring sun. They go up and up and up and up and up and up. They pay attention to what the sky tells them. They have regression therapy from the bottom of the ocean. She says to Dr. Fran, the ocean is the most wondrous, large, indefinite amount of all. The ocean makes Dr. Fran shiver. Does it make him shiver? Does he believe that the water will withstand his rubber raincoat? She complains to Dr. Weather. The water is dry beyond belief, to which Dr. Weather replies, down, down, down into the darkness of the water. He slides gently the wet wedding, the scorpion palms. Gently it goes. The numbers fall and rise. The checkerboard needs companionship. The wondrous pigment of the ocean, ever changing. She is destroyed in a moment she immediately forgets. Dr. Weather regrets never answering his phone. Dr. Fran mourns the lonely little large lake. She comes on the faucet and asks, does the lake make you shiver? Does it? Shivers? Does it? He sees the billboards that sicken him despite his noblest ideals. Dr. Weather comforts him that it's all right to get sickened. Why would you think the nautical navigation is neutral when navigation is the wettest waterfall of all? Down, down, down into the tangled purple of the pigments. Gently it goes, tearless and quite possibly rainless. Love God, not worship money. This is called Room Service. Let's do it. They arrive every year this time. They put on swimsuits, they tell jokes, and get the punchlines wrong. We set up the continental breakfast and watch the elevators come down. Before the wake-up calls, we're cleaning the halls. The tables are heavy. We vacuum the lobby. The rest of the morning, we're washing silverware and folding towels. I have to work a double tonight. I'm tired, but I don't mind. At least I'll get some overtime, but by 9 it seems like this shift will go on forever. Because it feels like I'm living in a non-stop dream. The lights are always on. I can't sleep or run away because I'll get in trouble. I can't believe they stiffed me on a tip. I carried their luggage to the street. This is real, so bite my lip and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back. I get so frustrated when they ask me to repeat things because of my accent and then say, it's so cute the way you speak, and I have to listen to some woman complain about the thread count of the sheets. And I don't want to work tonight, but I really don't have a choice. I have to make what I can now because I won't be young forever. because it feels like I'm living in a non-stop dream. The lights are always on. I can't sleep or run away because I'll get in trouble. I can't believe they forgot to fill the pool with chlorine. Second time this week. Not my job, but they still complain to me. This is real, so bite my lip and smile politely as I can. Yes, I understand, ma'am. My heart really gets racing when their kids throw things. I can't wait to go home tonight, but it'll be okay, because it's either this or the Spoon Factory, and I can't wait to go home tonight. And this is our final piece of the night. You know it. You know it. Remember Van doing Larry Graham? You know me. To pick up some of the hum from the flow. Slowly and quietly. Let's go! My shoelaces are undone, which means someone likes me as much as I love to see a basket of swing snowflakes. My shoelaces are undone, so I throw them next to a trunk full of styrofoam toys, and the person who brought them yells, "Thank you!" The first person in the castle has the obvious advantage if they wish to scrape their fingernails against century-old windows. They can concentrate vacantly while being unfailingly polite and insisting their hands are made of the same sand as found on the beach outside. They know there is no joy in failure for their friends, and fun and restoration happens once the work is done. The second person in the castle has obvious ease with boldly seizing treasure only they can see through a fizzing camera lens. They can research quietly while having no qualms about their ambition outstripping their abilities in assessing gaudy antiques. They know there is no lemon rich enough in sourness to let their taste get challenged into swallowing insects in soiled tents. The third person in the castle has the obvious edge when turning their profile to something more tactile to face the east end in hopes of preparing a table leg. they can dutifully saw and sweep the dust into the bin until the bell sounds to them to be slicing vegetables in the kitchen. They know there is no creek deep enough to keep them from molding jellies into a series of perfectly semi-translucent wedges. I want brass buttons for my cousin because I could not count for the cufflinks. They counted for me. Because I could not look for light bulbs. They looked for me. Because I could not dance for diamonds. They danced for me. They realized the chateau has the clear advantage as the place to evaluate flashy antiques. I want brass buttons for my cousin, but I make the rubber buttons that I wear for myself. While I sew, I look at the library and remember each of my most memorable finds. I want brass buttons for my cousin, but I make the rubber buttons I wear on my jacket. I buy the materials from the tan-toothed man who sold my mom a gold wishing box. I want brass buttons for my cousin because when I preach with the collar, it preaches with me. I want brass buttons for my cousin because when I move with the minnows, they move with me. They realize the chateau has the clear advantage when you're evaluating flashy antiques. Let's go! That's always right. My shoelaces are undone, so I only walk sideways and photograph a plum purple terracotta planet with a flag with a price tag sticking out of it. That's hard enough. My shoelaces are undone, which means someone likes me as much as I love wearing an apricot ascot while hearing stories about Korean camping sites. The first person in the tower can brighten their senses by energetically exchanging sunglasses and hairstyles once safely ensconced up at the top. They can cheerfully sing along with anything, though they prefer Caruso and ragtime to songs they don't already know. There is usually a fixed point in the distance for them to focus on things such as a helicopter or hawk taking off shortly after dawn. The second person in the tower can loudly shout, "Ah!" which echoes back so overwhelmingly they can think that they are in a private booth. Jesus Christ. They can detect the scent of her shampoo in the wind and look down to see her looking up and running towards them. There is normally an iron staircase nailed in 40 years ago, which serves as the one modern addition to the edifice. The third person in the tower can tell endless jokes over dinner about the rabbits they saw nipping chocolate from their mother's open purses. They can wear a lei around their necks, which contrasts sharply with their pinstripe sport coat and tartan flat cap. There is always a sauna where they can fall asleep underneath a slippery painting of their father all dressed up as a captain. My shoelaces are undone. They lay underneath the warmth of the sun. This is a true depiction, recited with excellent diction. Let's go! And now I recall other memories from walking around the castle, the humidity kept at bay, the clouds letting loose only hints of rain, and vines intertwining across each other, and each new flower that blooms another gift for the bees, in love with the newness of June. It's all on top of my eyes. The curious sage in an orange and brown dashiki, standing before a statue of the stripped Christ, arms open and hovering, all on top of my eyes, lithium batteries in between her teeth. She holds a screwdriver dipped in green paint as she walks over underground cables, all on top of my eyes, in between her toes. She waves off headaches with gallons of water and sleeping when she can, all on top of my eyes. The swells of excitement are just one continued drone. Close concert of ideas, stretching fingers. You did a great job today. Devoted. Seriously, all on top of my eyes. One wonder. One today. All right, that has been Spring Eternal. Hope that you've enjoyed it. We will be back next week. I think we're going to be moving to Tuesdays. Big. Haven't had a chance to mention that to anyone yet. So we'll be back in just a few days. So we hope that you enjoyed this. We'll be back soon. Hope that you've enjoyed this. We'll be back soon. All right. I should leave now. I should go now. It's time for me to go. Goodbye. Love you all. Forever. Goodbye. Goodbye.